It depends on the view of every person, but at least for me, development means today rising standards of living, and I tend to think about development in a more human development sense, with like different, I would say like different aspects to it. I would say like the first aspect is economic growth. The second aspect it's related with education. The third aspect related to health, and I think there are two more dimensions. One related with equality. You need, I mean, in order to have development, you need to have like more equal societies, and last but not least, you need to have sustainable development, and that means intergenerational possibilities, that they are going to be the same for us and for the next generations in the future. So the sustainability part, it's I mean, it's sort of like ignored most of the time, or in most of the definitions of development, but I think it's an important part. I'm doing one of the very challenging chapter, which is the one about WTO, GATT, WTO, and development. And I guess when my co-author invited me to write this chapter, I was a little bit skeptical at the beginning, because my first thought was, well, GATT and WTO, they are not really about development. It's not their main purpose, even though the last round of negotiation has been called the Doha Development Round. Historically, I mean, the GATT has not been about development. So the main, I guess, the main argument of our chapter is that GATT was never about pushing development in developing countries. And when the topic became a key topic in the organization, because many developing countries joined the GATT, and then the WTO was created, and the topic began to be a key issue in the negotiations. As a paradox, the negotiations stalemated, and we haven't been able to sort out, I mean, the main disagreements between North and South, and I think that's the main paradox, because when development entered the agenda, the negotiations stalemated. It's exciting to share perspectives with people that come from like very different backgrounds, and in terms of policy, in terms of like many different fields, and I think that's very interesting. And the other thing that is very exciting about this project is that we are, I think, at least in my view, at a very important point. It's sort of like a turning point in terms of development. I mean, development thinking is changing. We, as we have been discussing before, since the end of the Second World War, there have been two clear periods about what has been going on in terms of development. And then now we are at a new period in which, I mean, most of the, I would say, of the main ideas about development are being discussed, and they are like, sort of like flowing in a certain sense.